Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Merman Master coming at you from the Teen Time Riders Yugioh channel with a special deck profile. If my Watt deck was the very first deck that I had, this deck here was one of the very first decks. I think it was the very first deck that I took to locals. That's right, it is Earthbound Immortals. Now, I actually got this Earthbound Immortal deck way back in, I want to say like 2010 or 2011 or something like that. I'd first gone to college. And I really wanted to check out what the deck was able to do. I really like the art of the Earthbound Immortals and the lore behind them and the fact that they were the beast of the 5Ds era. And I just recently picked up the ultimate rare Earthbound Immortal Coco Pakka Poo that you see in front of you here. And that's really what inspired me to put back, grab all the disparate stuff I had and put the Earthbound Immortal deck back together. So this is what I came up with. Feel free to give me any comments or suggestions as things that work. Earthbound Immortals are not the most consistent deck at all. Actually, far from it. So please bear in mind. Like the first time that I took this deck to my locals, I ended up getting triple Trish during plant format, and that was just not fun. So yeah, let me show you the deck profile and explain really what I was running. So to start out, we're going to start out strong with the Earthbound Immortals. The first one we have is Earthbound Immortal Coco Pakka Poo. And this guy basically, when he is on the field and you attack over a monster, you can inflict that monster's attack power to it as damage. One of the things I do want to know about all Earthbound Immortals is that they're extremely weak to specific things. You must have a field spell card out when you summon them, and most of them take 2 tributes to summon. You must have the field spell card, and if that card is destroyed, the Earthbound Immortal is destroyed as well. So yeah, a little bit more fragile than most monsters, and you can only control one of them at a time. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Coco Pakka Poo. Moving on to the next one. This was the very first Earthbound Immortal I ever got, and probably my personal favorite of all of the Earthbound Immortals. So this guy is Earthbound Immortal Hughsilhou, and was actually from the Crow tin that I opened up my junior year of high school. I randomly saw it at a Target or some kind of store and just decided to secretly purchase it. And that's what got me started, addicted to opening up booster packs and finding cards. And it's still something that I do today. But this guy is really good because you can summon him to the field. He's a 2900 beater. But if he's in defense mode, which he in many instances he'll often be, you can inflict 2400 points of damage to your opponent every single turn. So it's a really, really nice slow burn effect. And basically, one of the other great things about the Earthbound Immortals as well is that I sort of forgot to mention is that your opponent can't attack them, and they can also attack your opponent's life points directly. So it's all depending on the options that you want to play with these guys as well. Also, another good thing about this card is that if it's in defense position, your opponent is unable to conduct their battle phase. So they have to get it off the field if they want to do anything. The next card that I have here is basically one of the strongest Earthbound Immortals in my personal opinion. And this guy is none other than Earthbound Immortal Asila Piscu. Now, both of these Asila Piscus are in here too, because this is, of course, first how I got them, and then second of all, their effects. They still have the same ability to attack directly, but when they're destroyed except by their own effect, you get to destroy all monsters your opponent controls and then inflict 800 points of damage to them for each monster that's been destroyed. So an excellent, excellent card, and really, really beneficial. And might I add that it's not like only destroyed. Like if it's removed from the field, kind of like absolute zero in any way, it will trigger that effect. Now comes the next Earthbound Immortal monster. This guy here is Earthbound Immortal Wiraq'wacha Rasca. And now Wiraq'wacha Rasca was Rex Goodwin's Earthbound Immortal monster. And it doesn't have the same anime effect, but it basically allows you to when it's summoned to the field, just return 3 cards you control to the deck. And then this card will gain 1,000 attack for each card returned, and your opponent will also discard 3 cards from their hand to the graveyard. So a pretty useful Earthbound Immortal card, though its effect was severely limited from its anime effect, which stated when it attacks, like it had 1 attack. It's like when it attacks directly, your opponent's life points become 1. But I think that would have been slightly too broken for official release, so to speak. Next card is Earthbound Immortal Uru, 3,000 attacker, and also has the same ability to not be attacked as an Earthbound Immortal, and his spidery ability allows him to be able to tribute a monster you control to steal an opponent's monster until the end phase. If you wanted, you could overlay for Gustav Max, but your choice. Also good card. I believe this was Roman's elite Earthbound Immortal. Then the bird was Carly's, I think, and the Chaku Chalua was belonging to Greiger, and finally the Coco Pakka Poo was, of course, Callum Kessler's. And the final one is Earthbound Immortal Hughsilhou, who we're running. And this guy, I kind of like him. He's one of the more recent additions as well, in that he, when he attacks you, and gets destroyed by battle, what you get to do is you can tribute a monster that you control and then have your opponent's life points. So kind of beneficial. You can like crash into things and make your opponent take damage. Then we have Earthbound Linewalker, a secret rare out of Absolute Power Force. I also got that with the deck. And then basically when he's out, you don't have to have any Earthbound Immortal. You don't have to have a field spell, and Earthbound Immortals will never be destroyed by their own card effects. Now, moving on to some of the self-explanatory stuff. We have 1 copy of Darkarmed Dragon. When you have 3 cards in graveyard, basically Darkarmed Dragon triggers, special summon, and you can banish dark monsters to pop things. Wonderful card. You can call me on this right now. Darkarmed Dragon's recent reprint, as well as like several other factors, lead me to believe that Darkarmed Dragon is going to come back to at least 2 on this next list. Hold me to this 100%, because I will come back and I will say this same exact thing. Darkarmed Dragon is going to 2. It's it's sort of been power crept in the format, and needs to come back. One of my personal favorite cards, this is a small tech, is Penumbra Sojo Lady. I remember her from way back in the day. Not really like the most amazing card, but against light monsters, she will do some serious damage. This is like the ultimate. I gotta talk to Team Time Riders Fudgems to see if he's got one of these in his Puta collection, as he calls it, the collection of all the female cards. Next, 2 copies of Dark Grepher. All your Earthbound Immortals are dark monsters level 10 or higher, or level 10 dark monsters, so you can easily discard these and get things to the graveyard to fuel some of your other Earthbound Immortal cards. 2 copies of Curry Bandit, same thing, get things to the graveyard, dig further for your field spells or any of the other Earthbound Immortal related spells. 2 copies of Stygian Street Patrol, get Grepher out, and then also grab your 1 copy of Armageddon Knight. All of these are great cards for just making sure your deck is milled, allowing you to go for extra advantage. So that's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells. What would this field spell deck be without 3 copies of Mausoleum of the Emperor? You can pay 1,000 life points each turn. And you can pay life points in multiples of 1,000 to basically summon out the monsters. Like, a lot of the things in this deck are all about getting the life point total down so that you can then make plays with the cards. 3 copies of Terraforming, self-explanatory, search the Mausoleum. Now we're getting into the one-ofs. We got 1 copy of Field Barrier to protect your field spell, because if that's destroyed, your Earthbound Immortals are gone, and most of them won't be able to work with their own effects. And then 1 copy of Double Summon. If you can get 2 monsters out, but you've already used up your normal summon, Double Summon will allow you to go that 1 extra step to get that Earthbound Immortal out. 1 copy of Dark Eruption, fetch back your Armonite or any of your other cards like your Linewalker back to your hand. 1 Foolish Burial, send whatever the hell you want to the graveyard like your Stygian Street Patrol. And then now we're getting into these 2. Earthbound Whirlwind and Earthbound Revival. Whirlwind is basically like Harpy's Feather Duster when you control an Earthbound Immortal, and then Revival allows you to discard a card and then add back 1 Earthbound Immortal and Earthbound field spell, or 1 field spell from your graveyard back to your hand. Now that's it for the spells. Moving on to the trap. 3 Earthbound Wave. This is basically the counter trap for Earthbound Immortals. Negates any spell or trap card that would activate while you control an Earthbound Immortal. So if you do Earthbound Whirlwind, your opponent wants to chain Starlight Road, you just chain Earthbound Wave and shut it down. 3 copies of Roar of the Earthbound. The thing that I like about this card is that basically, you know, it's not really like as decent of an effect by itself. Prevents your opponent from attacking and then inflicts the damage of the monster's attack back to their life points. But what it does is it prevents your opponent from attacking into Earthbound Linewalker, which is extremely, extremely important. Earthbound Linewalker is the monster that you really want to save on the field, specifically if your field spell bites the dust. And Roar of the Earthbound helps to provide that necessary insurance to make sure Linewalker stays around. Now my favorite personal card in the deck is this card here, Offering to the Immortals. And this is like this is kind of like the card design that we're now seeing with like Great Fortress Xelos, which tries to fix a lot of the inherent problems in the deck. When your opponent declares an attack against you, a direct attack, well, you have 3,000 life points or less, and it is very easy to get there paying for paying for the summon of your cards using Mausoleum of the Emperor. You negate the attack, and then special summon 2 ceremony tokens to the field. And then after you special summon those tokens, you can add an Earthbound Immortal, Earthbound Revival, or Roar of the Earthbounds from your deck to your hand. And then during your turn, you can use those tokens to normal summon or tribute summon that Earthbound Immortal monster. So basically, like when you're at your wit's end, Earthbound or Offering to the Immortals will come in and help you to put the game back into your favor. Next, we have 1 copy of Revival of the Earthbounds. Pretty much the only reason I'm running this over Call of the Haunted is that you can chain this to your opponent's card and your Earthbound monster will not be destroyed. So you basically target an Earthbound in your graveyard, special summon that monster, but its effect is negated for the turn, and any damage, it cannot declare an attack this turn, and then any damage that it deals to your opponent's life points becomes 0. And then finally, the 2 cards are 1 copy of Warning and 1 copy of Strike. So that's the 40-card Earthbound Immortal deck. As I mentioned, I built this just basically for the heck of it, rebuilt it. There will be new Earthbound Immortal cards coming out probably because of Sergi in the anime, and looking forward to hopefully revisit this deck once that happens. But if you guys like this video, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. We're always looking for more stuff as well, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.